We need 6 people online.
Good afternoon and welcome to our Global Health Graduate Student Commencement. I'm Anjali Palmquist, Director of Graduate Studies for the Duke Global Health Institute, and I'm standing in for Dr. Chris Beyer, who's DGHI's director. Chris was unfortunately called away for a family emergency. But on behalf of Dr. Beyer and the entire DGHI community, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all to this joyous occasion. I'm delighted to see so many families and loved ones here supporting our graduates. I know many of you have traveled great distances to be here. I also want to extend a warm welcome to those who aren't able to be here in person, but who are joining us online. We know you are with us in spirit, sharing your love and support for these remarkable graduates. Today, we are honoring 32 students who are earning their Master of Science in Global Health. This is the 15th cohort to complete the Master of Science program, and they represent a truly global group. They hail from 12 countries and speak more than a dozen languages, And when they arrived on this campus 2 years ago, they brought with them a broad range of skills and experiences. Some of them came to this program with clinical training or previous work in global settings, while others were just beginning to explore the field and their place in it. But from the start, what has united this extraordinary group of graduates is their passion and commitment to making a difference in the world around them. This shared sense of purpose has allowed these graduates to forge deep connections with one another and with our community. This is a class that had each other's backs from day one. They studied together, they relaxed together, they faced challenge and struggle together, and they overcame obstacles together, and today they graduate together. So let me first congratulate you, class of 2025, for building such a strong and supportive community on your way to reaching this milestone. Of course, many others have helped you arrive at this moment. You've had the guidance and wisdom of our outstanding faculty and staff who have cherished the opportunity to help you along your path. You've had friends and peers who have been there with a timely piece of advice or just needed a break from the grind. And you've had the support of family and loved ones who gave you the tools and the values you needed to succeed. To everyone in this room and elsewhere who has been there to help nurture and care for these outstanding young scholars, I want to share my deepest and heartfelt thanks. I know these graduates are enormously grateful to you all, and I speak for all of my faculty and staff colleagues when I say that we are too. It has been an absolute privilege to get to know these students, to understand their ambitions and their values, and to encourage them on the path toward their goals. Graduations are often times when we pause to reflect on what we've done. And every one of these graduates has accomplished much in the past 2 years. You've taken difficult courses and mastered new skills. You've completed original research on critical global health issues, including cancer, maternal and child health, infectious disease prevention and care, mental health, and the impacts of climate change. Collectively, you've participated in fieldwork in 15 countries, including Brazil, Panama, Tanzania, South Africa, Sri Lanka, Singapore, and the United States. You built relationships and trust in new communities and often across differences in culture and privilege. You have defended master's projects and presented findings at international conferences. All of these have required you to demonstrate critical thinking, diligence, and resilience that you may not have known you had. And so I hope today you are taking a moment to reflect on and celebrate all that you and your classmates have accomplished. At the same time, I know that all of you are looking ahead, and given the recent challenges to foreign assistance for global health work, no doubt many of you are feeling some apprehension about what the future holds for you. Over the past 2 years, you all have devoted considerable time and effort to gaining the skills and to understand and address questions at the heart of global and public health. And I'm sure many of you may be wondering right now whether the world still wants you to ask those questions and whether you will be able to find the resources and opportunities you need to answer them. And I want to assure you that I firmly believe the answers are yes. Not only does the world want you to ask those questions, but the world needs your skills and your knowledge now more than ever to continue to make progress against the many complex problems that drive disparities in health. You've already shown us that you have the talent, the ingenuity, and the passion to help move us beyond the difficulty of this moment. Think back to when you were getting ready for your summer projects. Likely one of the things your mentors told you was that no matter how carefully you planned your activities, you had to be ready to adapt. They told you not to be daunted by unexpected delays or challenging circumstances, to be ready to shift gears and be creative about solving problems. They cautioned you that if you wait to act until everything is perfect, you may miss the opportunity to act. And now here you are, graduating into a global health landscape that is nowhere near close to perfect. But you still have an opportunity to act. As long as there is inequity in the world around you, there is a place for people who are willing to fight against it. Whether you continue on in global health or another field, you have acquired the tools to be a force for change. The extreme circumstances we are facing only underscore the urgency of working toward that change. I'm reminded of something Dr. Jim Yong Kim said just a few weeks ago when he gave our Victor Zhao lecture in global health. Jim was one of the people who, along with Paul Farmer, founded Partners in Health, And Jim was explaining that when Partners was formed, there was very little money in global health. There was no PEPFAR and no Gates Foundation. And virtually everyone told them that Partners would fail. They said it was too difficult and too expensive to treat the global poor for diseases like HIV, AIDS, and tuberculosis. And that, sadly, was the conventional wisdom of the global health leadership at that time. But here's what Dr. Kim said he learned from that moment. He said, when you are faced with poverty and disease, optimism is not the result of didactic analysis. Optimism is a moral choice. Indeed, as Mariam Kaba reminds us, hope is a discipline. And so my challenge to you, class of 2025, is to choose hope. Do not let negativity discourage you from pushing against seemingly intractable problems, because progress only happens when someone decides progress is possible. Fight the pessimism, whether it be from others or your own, that wants us to accept the status quo as the best we can achieve. Because as graduates of the university that produced Paul Farmer, you know that's not true. You can envision a different future, a more equitable future, a more just future, and your efforts will help move us toward those brighter days ahead. So on behalf of the DGHI faculty and staff, our global partners, and your families and friends, I congratulate you on your graduation. We can't wait to see what you do next. In a moment, we will hear from our selected speakers, but before I introduce them, just a few housekeeping details. First, we do have an audience watching online, and so I'd ask that you silence your phones and devices, and please try to keep the middle aisle clear when our students are walking across the stage. We will be taking professional photos of your graduate and making those available to everyone next week. Second, we will be hosting a reception in the lobby outside the auditorium immediately after the ceremony, and I hope to see all of you there. And now I have the pleasure of introducing our next two speakers who have been invited to reflect on this momentous occasion. First, we will hear from Wendy Taylor, who is chair of the DGHI Board of Advisors. Wendy has held a number of leadership roles in innovation, public policy, and global health, including with USAID and the Rockefeller Foundation, and is currently president and CEO of the William Davidson Institute, a nonprofit affiliated with the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor that works at the intersection of education, innovation, and entrepreneurship to take on emerging global challenges. In addition to being a Duke alumna, Wendy is also a Duke parent, and she is celebrating her daughter's graduation from Duke this weekend. Congratulations. Following Wendy, we will hear from our student speaker, Ryan Parker, who was nominated by his fellow class of 2025 graduates to reflect on this cohort's extraordinary achievements. Wendy, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Anjali. DGHI faculty, staff, family members, class of 2025. It is such an honor to be here today. As Anjali told you, I'm here wearing many hats. I'm a Duke alum, a global health professional, DGHI board member, and mom of two amazing kids who very nicely came today, and my daughter who is graduating from Duke this weekend. So it's a busy weekend, and that's the biggest hat I'm wearing today. So to all of the parents, if you see me tearing up, it means I am standing right there with you in the swirl of emotions and the immense pride that we're feeling for the purpose-driven paths that our kids are taking. And to the global health graduates in this room, you have worked hard for this moment, and you have earned a sea of celebrations for your many, many accomplishments. And you have done this in a time of enormous uncertainty. So let's address that reality head on. It's been a rough few months. Practically overnight, U.S. global health funding has evaporated. Development organizations are folding or are mere shells of what they once were. Tens of thousands of development professionals are out of work researchers have lost funding, and healthcare workers are left empty-handed. These are tectonic, sector-changing shifts, and the horrifying human toll that will result is unconscionable. So that's the hard truth. But here's another truth. This is exactly the moment that you are needed the most. The career pathways you have envisioned may be less clear, but the challenges that you seek to solve are not going away. In fact, they're only getting harder. We are entering a world of polycrises with climate change, disease outbreaks, population shifts, political instability, all increasingly interconnected and exacerbating the challenges we face across the globe. So, as painful as all of this is, it's also an opening. As Albert Einstein once said, in the midst of every crisis lies great opportunity. Now is no different. In this moment, we are called to be sense makers. We must sense between right over wrong, truth over myth, science over fiction. We must also sense when to stop and listen and when to forge ahead, when to lead and when to partner, when to build on what works and when to seek entirely new approaches. I am calling on you to be sense makers. Some of you may find these opportunities through medicine or research, entrepreneurship or public service. Some of you may find these opportunities far from home, or you may go home to the communities that built you. No matter where you start, expect the unexpected. Lean into the twists and turns along the way, as that is often where the magic lies. So as you set forth, let me leave you with 3 lessons that I've learned and I hope will serve you well along the way. Lesson 1, don't take no for an answer. I learned this from my very first boss and mentor, the chief economist of the U.S. House Ways and Means Committee in Congress. He is a master negotiator, and he spent his career protecting the health and well-being of some of this nation's poorest families. I saw firsthand how his persistence, even against the toughest odds, led to big wins. He told me the key is never take no for an answer, always have another trick up your sleeve. That lesson stuck. At USAID, I founded the Center for Innovation and Impact to catalyze innovation and bring market-based thinking to solve long-entrenched problems. We were outsiders, and we had yet to earn the trust of our colleagues. Naturally, our ideas ruffled a few feathers, and we heard a lot of no's. But when we hit barriers, we did not back down. We found another way. We racked up a lot of agency first. USAID's first grand challenge, a highly successful program that opened the doors to a whole new group of solvers and spurred a new generation of life-saving innovations. USAID's first advanced market commitment, a market-creating tool to catalyze innovations that industry was reluctant to take on. USAID's first development impact bond, an innovative way to finance development and leverage private capital, paying only for results. We were scrappy and creative. And we figured out when and how to push just a little bit harder. Part of our success came from building allies, and part of it came from learning the rules inside and out, because that's where we found the workarounds. But we also listened. Spending time with those guarding the current way of working helped us understand why they so fiercely protected it, and helped us find ways to bring them along with us to support new ideas that might be the new key unlock. You are all change makers, and you will face headwinds as you tackle hard problems. Be scrappy, find your allies, learn from those who have gone before you, but don't take no for an answer. Lesson 2, look around the corners. We are living in a dynamic, complex, and rapidly changing world. If we focus only on solving today's problems, we'll always be a few steps behind. We need to sharpen our ability to anticipate what's coming next. I saw this firsthand during the Ebola crisis of 2014, when we lacked the right tools to respond quickly to a rapidly spreading outbreak. We discovered that while we can catalyze innovations in a crisis, it's not at all ideal. R&D takes time. We also know that even outside of a crisis, deploying and scaling innovations and transforming systems it takes even longer and is much harder. If we don't prepare for what's on the horizon, we'll be stuck tackling tomorrow's challenges with yesterday's tools. And we may get blindsided by an unforeseen crisis that wipes out decades of progress. We can already see signals of change, warning of potential disruptions, from extreme heat events affecting larger and larger populations, to changing disease patterns, putting new communities at risk, to antimicrobial resistance, making treatable diseases untreatable. The more we can shift from reactive to proactive and ideally preventive, the better off we'll all be. Lesson 3, embrace the complexity and seek sword solutions. What do I mean by that? Let me tell you the story of the Gordian knot. As the legend goes, there was a wagon tied up with several knots all tightly entangled, and whoever could unravel that knot would be destined to become a great ruler. Many tried, and tugging and pulling, but all failed until Alexander the Great came along and sliced through it with a sword. The lesson: sometimes hard, intractable problems aren't solved by just tugging harder. They require a new way of thinking. In global health, we have a lot of Gordian knot problems. We need more sword solutions. I've seen sword solutions in global health innovation. They may come from unexpected places and people with fresh perspectives, like Jorge Odon, an Argentinian car mechanic who invented the first innovation for obstructed labor in 50 years. One day, he was sitting around the shop and was watching a YouTube video about a party trick on how to get a cork out of the bottom of a wine bottle. Somehow, he connected that challenge with the challenge of getting a baby who is stuck in the birth canal out through a successful delivery. So he was inspired, and how many of you would have thought of that? He was inspired. He went home and he prototyped a new device in his kitchen with his daughter's baby doll, and he somehow had the wherewithal to find the right collaborators and funders and be able to take it forward. Sword solutions may also require applying a whole systems lens. Paul Farmer, one of global health's true giants, did that by realizing you can't just isolate health. You have to look at the whole community and the whole system. And sword solutions may appear at the intersections of disciplines and ideas. Across my own career, some of my greatest successes came from working at the intersections, public and private sectors, health and business, policy and markets. But in this highly siloed world where donors favor simple solutions to complex problems and continue to fund through verticalized systems, these intersections are often neglected by traditional funding. Push back and make the case for complexity. To find your own sword solutions, keep building a variety of skills as you go along. Seek opportunities to solve problems from different vantage points. Bring together people from outside of your circles and find both your allies and your agitators who challenge you to think differently. The path ahead may not be clear, and it may look very differently than what you expected just a few years ago. But clarity comes from motion, from testing new ideas, from listening and from learning and from adapting. You are ready. You are the next generation of sense makers. So go forward boldly with your eyes on the horizon. Seek the sword solutions. And when the world tells you no, find another way. We need you now more than ever. Congratulations, class of 2025. Now I have the honor of inviting your student speaker and your very own Ryan Parker.
I'd like to begin by thanking the DGHI faculty and staff for hosting this commencement ceremony and for their endless and tireless support throughout our time in the program. I've deeply enjoyed walking through the halls of Trent and seeing you all every day. Thank you to the friends and family joining us in person and online today. We can all feel your love and support and are deeply grateful for it. I'd also like to thank my friends and colleagues in the class of 2025. Over the past 2 years, I've been inspired by each and every one of you, and it's both an honor and a blessing to stand before you now and deliver this address. It feels only fitting at this commencement ceremony for global health students at Duke University to begin by invoking the great Duke graduate and global health hero, Dr. Paul Farmer. In the biography, Mountains Beyond Mountains, journalist Tracy Kidder recounts the tragic story of John, a young boy from Haiti diagnosed with nasopharyngeal carcinoma, a rare form of cancer. When John arrived at the Partners in Health Hospital in Cannes, his condition worsened, prompting Farmer and his colleagues to go to extraordinary lengths, paying thousands of dollars to transport John and his mother to Mass General in Boston. After John passed away, Kidder asked Farmer why Partners in Health would invest so much in one patient when there were so many others in need. In response, Farmer borrowed a phrase from one of his and my favorite book series, The Lord of the Rings, saying, "I have fought the long defeat and brought other people on to fight the long defeat. And I'm not going to stop because we keep losing." People from our background, we're used to being on the winning team. And what we're really trying to do with Partners in Health is to make common cause with the losers. We want to be on the winning team, but at the risk of turning our back on the losers, no, it's not worth it. So we fight the long defeat. In global health, it often feels as though we're fighting this long defeat. Whether it be reckoning with the inequities that lead to situations like John's, confronting the long legacy of colonialism, or navigating layoffs and budget cuts, global health is at a constant uphill battle. In recent months, our field and the health of millions around the world has been under even greater threat than usual. Under these circumstances, it can be easy to despair, forget why we chose global health, and to reconsider the direction of our careers. But if there's one thing I know, it's that God often paints his prettiest pictures in chiaroscuro, using darkness to bring out the light, moments of lament to make the moments of joy that much more meaningful. Now, as we celebrate this joyous rite of passage, looking back on our experiences over the past 2 years and forward to the rest of our lives in global health, I'd like to offer 3 reasons for hope, both for our own professional futures and for the field of global health as a whole. First, we can hope in our shared commitment to health equity. Some people spend their whole lives working to be a footnote in an academic journal. Others devote their lives to serve at the foot of a higher purpose. Global health is firmly rooted in the latter. Our profession is not just about producing odds ratios and regression tables. It's about serving an ideal that transcends the data we produce. Though our work might not always be stable or comfortable, we can always find stability and take comfort in the fact that we aim for something greater than ourselves. Global health is grounded in a shared moral worldview, one that values the spiritual, physical, and emotional well-being of all people. It is built on the belief that health is both an end unto itself as a fundamental human right, as well as a means to living a meaningful life. Health equity is the foundation of our work. And no matter how hard the powers that be up in DC try to erase the word equity from government websites, emails, and grant applications, they can never erase the ideal of equity from being at the very core of all that we do. This commitment strengthens our work. It gives us a raison d'etre, a purpose around which we, in all of our beautiful diversity, can find unity. And in today's world, that unity is more important than ever. Second, we have hope in our lifelong commitment to learning. In March, I had the pleasure of attending many of our thesis and master's paper defenses, where I got to see all the wonderful and exciting research done during our time here. It's incredible to think that less than 2 years ago, most of us didn't even know how to download RStudio, let alone use it. And yet now we're conducting social network analyses, running multi-level regressions, and creating heat maps for malaria. As a cohort, our research will contribute to detecting brain hemorrhages from traumatic brain injuries in Uganda, identifying the role of climate to malaria transmission in Panama, addressing food insecurity in Singapore, developing interventions for children with autism in South Africa, and supporting medication for management for sickle cell disease in Kenya, and so much more. But despite all this, we know that our education is not over. While we may be graduating with a master's in global health, we know that we will never truly be masters of global health. More than teaching us how to do a specific job, our degree has given us a way of seeing the world, a perspective rooted in humility, justice, and equity. And no matter how hard I try, that can't be fit into a Quizlet. We've learned so much. We've learned so much over the past 2 years. And while we can be proud of our accomplishments, we know that our learning will never be finished. No matter what comes next or what roadblocks we may face, nothing can stop us from continuing to grow in knowledge and in wisdom. Finally, we have hope in fellowship. As members of the global health community, we recognize that the world is a village. We come from 12 different countries, speak many different languages, and all have diverse backgrounds, yet we will always be united by our time here at Duke. Whether it was attending class in our beloved 040, celebrating a potluck Thanksgiving, or even hiking Mount Kilimanjaro together, shout out to Paul, we have built a cohort community that will last beyond these 2 years. And so, while the times they are a-changin', and many of us may be graduating into the complete unknown, we know that we will never truly be alone because we have each other to share in the hard times and to celebrate the good ones. We know that we have been incredibly privileged to have spent these 2 years here at Duke, living, learning, and working. As Duke students, many of us aren't used to being the underdog. Just ask our basketball teams. As students of global health, however, we, recognizing our positionality, must find common cause with the underdog, amplifying voices that have long been silenced and breaking down gates that have long been barred. Underdogs win sometimes, but often they lose. Yet this fact should not prevent us from hoping for victory or striving for success. Though we may lament the losses, we do not despair. Instead, we hold on to hope for what should be and have faith in what could be. So let's celebrate these moments together, thesis defenses, graduation, job offers, with the belief that through our sense of purpose, our knowledge, and our fellowship, we can make a difference. Because when global health does win, those victories will be all the sweeter. To hearken back to Dr. Farmer and the Lord of the Rings, I will close with a quote from the esteemed hobbit, Samwise Gamgee. In the end, it's only a passing thing, the shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines, it'll shine out the clearer. There's some good in this world, and it's worth fighting for. Cohort 15, may we never stop fighting for goodness, for compassion, for justice, for equity, and for health. God bless you all. Thank you.
Oh, well, I have to follow that. That was amazing, Ryan. I'm so proud of you and your class. Those were really inspiring words. You're obviously such a valuable member of our class. My congratulations to you and everybody, all of the graduates, for your remarkable achievements over the past 2 years. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joe Egger. I'm DGHI's Director for Academic Programs. And today I have the pleasure of presenting our Student and Faculty Awards. Let me say that so many outstanding students and professors in this program, it is quite challenging, of course, to choose just one student and one professor to honor. We are privileged to work in a community where excellence abounds. But the two individuals we will honor today are truly exceptional for their talent, effort, and passion for global health. First award is the Madeline Bacuzzi Outstanding Graduate Student Award. This award is named in honor of Madeline Bacuzzi, who graduated from our program in 2013, was unanimously chosen as the most outstanding student that year. Tragically, we lost Maddie to cancer in 2014, but during her lifetime, she exemplified the spirit and dedication this award recognizes, and we are proud to continue to celebrate her legacy by presenting this award in her honor. This award, we ask our faculty to nominate students who they believe have excelled in the classroom, in collaborative research, and in building the global health community at Duke and beyond. We received many glowing nominations, and it's clear this class has many outstanding students with worthy achievements. This year's outstanding student possesses exceptional intellectual ability and has already made important contributions to global health research. But what truly sets him apart is his deep care and compassion for those around him, including his peers, his collaborators, and the subjects of his research. Although this student came to DGHI with some experience in community health and development, he was new to academic research. But his professors say his diligence and openness to new concepts enabled him to quickly emerge as a leader in the classroom. As one mentor wrote, apart from his excellent writing, presentation, and visualization skills, he demonstrated a great sense of curiosity and the ability to connect challenging concepts and maintain sight of the big picture. For his thesis research, this student explored the possible integration of telehealth care into suicide prevention services in Tanzania. His advisors raved about the depths of this qualitative analysis, describing it as inspiring, thoughtful, and among the best student thesis projects they've seen. They also noted the deep sense of respect and humility this student brought to every phase of this research. As one mentor wrote, he demonstrated a great sense of responsibility to honor and value the people who shared their insights with him. To his classmates, this student stands out for his warmth, his genuine concern for his peers. Of course, we all know who we're talking about now. His eagerness to help them succeed. As a teaching assistant, I can vouch for this, he regularly went above and beyond to aid students with their projects, wrote one professor. Another nominator remarked that the extraordinary number of peers and Tanzanian collaborators who attended this student's thesis defense is an indication of the respect and admiration he has earned across our community. As one mentor wrote, it's clear that this student will be a future star in global health, with a clear intellectual brilliance, as well as the compassion and drive to be a leader in the field. For all of these reasons, we are proud to present this year's Madeline Bacuzzi Outstanding Graduate Student Award to Paul Gangula. Usually get choked up with these kinds of things. I don't know, I'm having trouble today. This is a big one. Special class. Okay, and now we will present the Global Health Graduate Professor of the Year Award. We are fortunate to have a remarkable group of professors and mentors inspiring students like Paul and his classmates to achieve the great work they do. These professors teach the core courses in the Master of Science curriculum and elective courses across campus. They also serve as research mentors for our students, helping them design and carry out research projects that can involve multiple global partners in complex research. Each year, we ask students to put forward nominations to recognize one faculty member who has gone above and beyond to teach, mentor, and support our students. This year's outstanding professor is a stellar example of DGHI's interdisciplinary approach to global health. Someone who takes a broad lens on the complex issues underlying health disparities, both in her teaching and research. But she also is known for her extraordinary kindness and an unfailing commitment to helping students find their path, both inside and out of the classroom. This professor teaches courses that are fundamental to developing our master students' research skills and to preparing them to lead their own field research projects. Students say her course lessons are engaging and thought-provoking, encouraging critical thinking and collaborative learning. Students in her classes feel empowered to challenge traditional ideas, wrote one student nominator. Others praised how she incorporates cultural context and outside perspectives into her lectures. But this professor is also deeply involved outside her classes, providing essential mentorship and support for every student in our program. In her role, she helps connect our students with research opportunities and mentors, taking the time to understand each student's skills and goals to ensure they are well positioned for success. And her support goes well beyond academic advice. As one student wrote, she provides invaluable insights into career development, personal growth, and navigating the complexities of the global health landscape. Another student noted that she provides a safe space to voice concerns and always ensures every student is supported during the degree. It's no exaggeration to say that every graduate in this room has benefited from this professor's advocacy and empathy for our students. As one student summed up, I hope that even if she doesn't win this award, that she gets to read this and knows that the way she shows up in the classroom is appreciated by her students. And so I am pleased to present this year's Global Health Graduate Professor of the Year Award to Dr. Anjali Palmquist. Congratulations to our award winners, and thank you for your outstanding contributions to our community. Now it's time to honor our graduates, so I'll ask Laura Bai to come to the stage to begin our recognition ceremony, and I'm sure keep the tears flowing.
Good afternoon. I'm Laura Bai, Senior Associate Director for Academic and Student Affairs, and it's my honor to present our 2025 graduates. Each of our students will walk across the stage as I read their name, and as others have mentioned, we do have people watching the ceremony online, so please refrain from using the middle aisle, so our online audience can be sure to watch as well. We have a great photographer capturing pictures of this moment, and those photos will be made available to all of you in the weeks following the ceremony. So let's begin. Oyan Alua Adarimola. Oyan's thesis, mentored by Tamara Fitzgerald, modeled birth attendant views on gastroschisis in Southwest Uganda. Suleiman Barrow. Chemicals during pregnancy and assess their immune response to vaccination. His mentor was Li Peng Fan. Hutton Chapman. Feasibility and safety of a treatment for pediatric Burkitt lymphoma in Mwanza, Tanzania. His mentor was Kristen Schrader. Galia Chanel. Galia researched the challenges and opportunities in regulating digital food marketing to children in the US. She worked with healthy eating research under the mentorship of Mary Story. Harper Chung. Krishna Udayakumar and the Duke Global Health Innovation Center to study patient and healthcare workers' perspectives on access to COVID-19 testing and treatment in Malawi. San Cui. Factors associated with clergy willingness to refer congregants for mental health services. Her mentor was Regine Pressel Bell. Mireya Dorado. Studied the access of seasonal malaria prevention in Turkana County, Kenya. Her mentor was Wendy Omira. Kiara Ikigwe. Joe Egger to perform a cross-sectional study examining oral pain in children and adolescents in Tanzania. Camilla Emsbo. Caregivers' baseline knowledge, attitudes, and practices in pediatric cancer care in Mwanza, Tanzania. Her mentor was Chris Schrader. Emily Fisher. With healthy eating research, resulted in a review of the health impact of non-sugar sweetened beverages in children and adolescent diets. Her mentor was Mary Story. Xiaowen Hu. Gates Foundation China, Maria analyzed a product development pathway for malaria vector control. Her mentor was Wei Fen Gong. Jonathan Kennedy. With Christine Gray and wrote an analysis of mental health struggles among young people in Kenya. Junaid Khan. David Eagle to understand the influence of shame on depressive symptoms among seminarians. Juan Kimani. Juan explored the relationship between physical activity and various characteristics of individuals with heart failure undergoing cardiac rehabilitation. Her mentor was Nalima Navaluri. Madison Kitts. Challenges to scaling up newborn screening for sickle cell disease in Kalangala, Uganda. Her mentor was Carrie Stewart. Joshua Kwavuvi. Charles Maruri to evaluate differences in hypertensive status between rural and urban populations in northwestern Tanzania. Wei Lin. Worked with Jessica Posner at JSI to adapt the HIV person-centered care assessment tool to a primary healthcare setting. Mohan Liu. HPV vaccine acceptance among male college students in China. Her mentor was Shenlang Tang. Natalie Matthews. As time and spatial trends of cesarean deliveries across Brazil, her mentor was Charla Rent. Naomi Mlo. Naomi studied a culturally centered mindfulness intervention for SGM and orphaned youth in Cambodia. He Huyen was her mentor. Tala Najar. With Orlando Go to explore healthcare access for migrant workers in Singapore. Ashita Nazareth. Examined the barriers and facilitators to the treatment management of pediatric sickle cell disease in Kenya. Her mentor was Eve Puffer. Tabena Ndula. Is working with Lauren Franz to explore the familial use of caregiver strategies to support their autistic children in South Africa. Paul Gangula. Brandon Nettle to examine the integration of a telehealth-based suicide prevention program and HIV care into Tanzania's healthcare system. Ryan Parker. Ryan performed a text analysis of COVID-19 public health messages from the sermons of United Methodist pastors in North Carolina. His mentor was David Eagle. Catherine Purnell. Violence is a predictor for mental health and PrEP outcomes in Indigenous gay and bisexual men in Guatemala. She was mentored by Dirk Davis. Anna Tavermina. Anna studied with Herman Ponser to characterize C-reactive protein in a semi-nomadic group in northern Kenya. Yusel Trio Ordonez. Yusel assessed the use of a portable device in detecting intracranial hemorrhage for traumatic brain injury in Uganda. Her mentor was Brad Coles. Hannah Vidaire. Maximum entropy modeling to identify malaria vector habitat in Panama. Her mentor was Bill Pan. Hannah Validen. Association of Food Insecurity and Childhood Obesity in Singapore. Her mentor was Elaine Hsu. Lucia Weyer Johnson. He researched the role of family support on HIV status, mental health, and violence among Indigenous gay and bisexual men in Guatemala. Her mentor was Dirk Davis. This completes our 2025 graduating class. As our last students are making their way back to their seats, I'd like to ask everyone to remain seated as our graduates leave the hall. Once they've exited, please join us in the atrium for the reception. Graduates, and I'll ask you to follow Lisa to exit the hall and pick up your class gift. So one last time, class of 2025, please rise.
If you want to play music. Play music.